Alright, let's talk about the Google Pixel 11. Because if you're anything like me, you're both excited and a little skeptical about what Google's cooking up this time. Here's the deal. Google's next big launch is just around the corner, and the rumors are flying faster than a Pixel phone slipping out of your hands. But what's really going on here? Let's break it down, add some perspective, and maybe even speculate a bit. First off, the launch event is set for August 12th, and Google's pulling out all the stops. Trevor Noah hosting? Stephen Curry as a guest? Personally, I think this is Google's way of saying, hey, we're not just about tech, we're about entertainment. But here's the thing. While celebrity hosts are fun, they can also feel like a distraction. Are they trying to overshadow the fact that the Pixel 11 might not be a revolutionary leap? Or is this just Google flexing its marketing muscles? What makes this really interesting is how it reflects a broader trend in tech launches. Companies are increasingly turning these events into mini concerts or talk shows. It's not just about specs anymore. It's about creating a moment. But let's be real. At the end of the day, I'm here for the phone, not the party. Now let's talk pricing. The leaks suggest the Pixel 11 lineup is getting a price hike across the board. The base model starts at $899, the Pro at $1,099, and the Pro Fold, a whopping $1,899. In my opinion, this is Google's way of positioning itself as a premium brand, but it's a risky move. The Pixel has always been about offering flagship features at a more accessible price point. If you take a step back and think about it, this could alienate the very audience that's been loyal to the brand. What many people don't realize is that in a world where even Apple is struggling to justify its prices, Google might be playing a dangerous game here. Personally, I think they're walking a fine line between premium and overpriced. One detail I find fascinating is the Pixel Glow HiLight feature. Essentially, it's a multicolored LED light module in the camera bar that notifies you of incoming messages or calls. On paper, it sounds cool, a subtle way to stay connected without constantly checking your screen. But here's my take. Is this a game changer or just a gimmick? What this really suggests is that Google is focusing on small, incremental improvements rather than big innovations. Don't get me wrong, I love a good quality of life feature, but if this is the headline edition, it feels a bit underwhelming. It's like they're saying, look, we added a light, while Samsung and Apple are pushing the boundaries of AI and camera tech. Speaking of cameras, let's dive into the specs. The base Pixel 11 is rumored to ditch the telephoto lens, which feels like a step backward. I mean, who removes a feature in a flagship phone? From my perspective, this could be Google's way of cutting costs to justify that price hike, but it's a strange trade-off. Meanwhile, the Pro models are getting a 120x digital zoom, which sounds impressive, but let's be honest, how often are you really zooming in that far? It's a cool party trick, but I'd rather see improvements in low-light performance or video stabilization. What makes this really interesting is how it highlights Google's priorities. They're betting on AI-driven features like zoom instead of tangible hardware upgrades. Finally, the Pixel 11 Pro Fold is where things get really intriguing. Foldables are still a niche market, but Google's doubling down with a $1,899 price tag. Personally, I think this is their attempt to compete with Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold, but it's a bold move. Foldables are still far from perfect. Durability, software optimization, and battery life are all question marks. What this really suggests is that Google is playing the long game here. They're not expecting the Fold to be a bestseller, but they're staking their claim in the foldable future. If you take a step back and think about it, this could be a smart strategy or a costly experiment. So what's the takeaway? The Pixel 11 lineup feels like a mix of safe bets and risky gambles. Google's pushing into premium territory, adding quirky features like HiLight, and doubling down on foldables. But here's the deeper question. Is this enough to keep up with the competition? In my opinion, Google's playing it safe when they should be swinging for the fences. The tech world moves fast, and incremental updates might not cut it anymore. What do you think? Are you excited for the Pixel 11, or does it feel like more of the same? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your take.